We welcome to the New Hampshire Legends of Hockey 2021 class, Ben Lovejoy. Ben, born in Concord, New Hampshire, grew up in Canaan, New Hampshire in the Upper Valley, and your hockey career really started to thrive in the Upper Valley at Cardigan Mountain School.
I did. I was born in Concord. My dad was born and raised in Concord, went to high school in Concord, and then moved right back after college in Maine. And I grew up, I was born in Concord. We moved to Massachusetts until I was 7, and then I moved back here. And I've been in New Hampshire ever since. My dad played hockey for the Concord Capitals growing up. He played at St. Paul's School, and I grew up on stories of New Hampshire hockey players. My dream, starting as a very little boy, was to be sitting in this chair, to be the best hockey player from New Hampshire, and this is a huge honor for me. I'm so thrilled to be here.
Well, and we're thrilled to have you here. No question about that. And you've had for a young guy, a long and storied career already. After you went to Cardigan Mountain, you were in 3 seasons in the Metropolitan Boston Hockey League, summer hockey, Deerfield Academy in Massachusetts. So, you had a great career around New England before you even went to college.
I did. If you're playing hockey, you sort of treat New England as your home. I got to know so many great people throughout my career, and I had some amazing coaches and teachers who shaped me. But I was always a kid from New Hampshire. This is the place I prided myself on. When I came back to Dartmouth, all I wanted to do was beat UNH, because that was the best team in the state, and I've been my whole life just trying to be the best player from New Hampshire.
Well, originally recruited by Jerry York at Boston College, spent a year there.
I did. That was a mistake. I committed there as a freshman in high school. I went as an 18-year-old, and I just wasn't ready. It was a very nice school, a very nice program. It just, at that time, it wasn't a great fit for me, and I needed a restart. And having grown up playing for Hanover Youth Hockey, my brothers grew up with Bob Gaudette's sons, playing with them. We quietly reached out to Bob and asked if I could transfer and come start over. And he is, other than my mom and dad, he's probably the most important person in my hockey life. He gave me a second chance when my hockey career and my life were at its lowest points, and everything started to take back off when I started back at Dartmouth with Bob Gaudette.
So 3 years at Dartmouth under the legendary Bob Gaudette. So that really turned things around for you.
It did. It's a place where I was able to be me and be comfortable, and I learned a ton about hockey, but I also learned a ton about myself. I went to one of the best schools in the world and played some incredible hockey with 9 other guys on that team, played in the NHL. So it was a pretty good team too.
I would have to say so. Your pro career started right after your senior year with the Norfolk Admirals in the American Hockey League.
I did. I played 5 games for Norfolk, and then signed with the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. And I got my degree in college hockey from Dartmouth, and I got my master's degree in hockey playing for Wilkes-Barre. I was given a huge role and had to learn a ton about the game, about the pro game, about being a professional athlete and a professional hockey player and an adult. And I owe so much. I do consider myself an alumni of the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins, and it's something that I wear with pride. It's a place that's very special for me.
And you were there for quite a while. Rode a lot of buses over the years with the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. that the transition. You transitioned right away. I know from Dartmouth you went to Norfolk originally, and then Wilkes-Barre the following season. But the transition is not as easy as some people may think it is.
It's incredibly difficult. When you see these first-round picks go right from junior hockey or right from college to the NHL, it speaks to how special they truly are, because most people can't do that. I couldn't do that. I had to learn. I had to go to school playing in the AHL and learn how to play perfect defense. You watch games on TV and you think there's all this creativity every night, and there are some special players who can make some special plays, but what I learned in the American League is that there is a right play and a wrong play every time, and the guys that are able to make long careers in the NHL know exactly what those right plays and wrong plays are, and do them on a regular basis.
So you grew up and really made your bones in the Pittsburgh organization.
I did. Pittsburgh's home. We continued to grow up there, my wife and I. We went, and my first season, I spent 5.5 years in the Pittsburgh organization. My first 3 years in Pittsburgh, I was the 5th, 6th, 7th defenseman. I was in and out of the lineup. I was up and sometimes I was playing great hockey, sometimes I wasn't. But I was excited to be in the NHL and was going to do anything I could to stay there, and I did. But deep in the back of my mind, I always hoped and thought I could do more. And my agent and I, behind the scenes, reached out to the general manager, Ray Shero, and said, if there's an opportunity for Ben to try somewhere else, we would like to. He was an incredibly important person in my life and my hockey career, and he traded me to the Anaheim Ducks, where my career took off. At the time, I said I would have gone to Antarctica for a fresh start, but instead I got to live in Newport Beach and play for the top team in the West, and we never won the Stanley Cup there. We ran into some very good LA Kings teams and had some great battles, but my career really took off as a Duck.
That it did, without question. And then ultimately wound up back in Pittsburgh.
I did. I thought that at the time there were 29 other NHL teams that I would go to before going back to Pittsburgh. It never crossed my mind that would be a place that would want me back. I spent 25 months in Anaheim and was traded back, and we arrived. It was a new general manager, new coaching staff, but the same players, the same people that worked for the team. It felt like home. We certainly had some ups and downs. Mike Johnson was fired, the coach, and Mike Sullivan was brought in, and we did not explode right away. But about February, we started figuring things out, and we really became a wagon, and we were going to the playoffs hot. And looking back, it feels like we were unbeatable, but going through it, it was an incredible experience. It was incredibly difficult, the amount of sacrifice that went into winning the Stanley Cup. I say all the time that I married an awesome woman. I have 3 great kids, but winning the Stanley Cup was by far the best day of my life. It was something that I worked 32 years for. Yeah. Incredibly special.
Well, it had to be, and that season, you talked about the coaching change that was made. You were a team that was over 500, before the change was made, but then it seemed to take off when Mike Sullivan took over.
It did. He brought some different systems, but I really think he just brought a different mentality. We were going to attack, and we were going to be aggressive, and we were going to allow. We were a really fast team. We were going to allow our speed to overwhelm teams, and it certainly helped that we had the 2 best players in the world playing incredibly well once Mike Sullivan took over. But it was a team effort. Our third line might have been our best line the whole playoffs. They became sort of caricatures this HBK line during our playoff run, and you need that. You need to overwhelm teams with your second, third, and fourth lines, and we got some great goaltending, but we deserved to win it.
Yeah, over the years, you've had some amazing teammates. Can you recall two or three of the best that obviously you played with Sidney Crosby and a number of others, but who were some that people might not think of right away?
I mean, Sid is different. He brings the skill and the talent, and he's certainly gifted. But when he came into the league in 2005, right after the lockout, the game changed, and I know that they credit some rule changes for that, the lack of hooking and holding, but it changed because he was so fast and everyone had to keep up, and it changed the way guys trained, it changed the way guys' body types looked, and I came into that in 2008 as a young player, and it was life-changing. I had to do that stuff to keep up. I had to change everything, and everybody in that organization had to keep up with Sidney Crosby, and it changed how everyone trains. Now everyone is fit and thin and fast. So that didn't answer your question, but to answer your question, it's Ryan Getzlaf. He is so special, and he has an incredible life living in Newport Beach, and I'm sure he wouldn't trade it. But if he was in a more prominent organization where people watched hockey on the East Coast, if he was a Ranger or a Penguin or a Bruin, people would speak about him as the greatest, one of the greatest of all time. He is that good and that special, and he could throw. First of all, he's the alpha in the room, but he could throw our team on his back at will. I was lucky to watch him day in and day out because he is that special.
Yeah, that's interesting. And another guy that played for a while in the American Hockey League before going to the NHL.
Not quite as long as I did, but yes, he did.
No, I remember him in his AHL days as well. And
Portland Pirate.
Yes, indeed. I remember him well. But now, bring us up to date. You're not playing in the NHL anymore, but you're living in New Hampshire.
I am. When I played, we had a little lake house in Enfield, New Hampshire, and that was home every June, July, and August. And it's a cottage, you couldn't live there in the winter. But New Hampshire became our home for my new family. It was home for my wife, it was home for my three kids. It's what we did. As we got older and decided to be here full time, we now live in Hanover, and my kids go to school there, and I coach a ton of youth hockey.
Very good. And you played a little lacrosse at Dartmouth as well, I understand.
I did. I played 3 seasons. My mom is still one of the NCAA scoring leaders from her time at UMass, and she gave me some genetics and a lacrosse stick when I was a little kid. So that was a sport that I grew up playing and very much love.
That is terrific. What was it like? You talked about winning the Stanley Cup with the Penguins. What was it like to bring the cup back to New Hampshire?
It was the best. It was something that I, throughout my 12-year career, it's something that I thought about all the time. What would I do? And during the dark days of late January, February hockey, when the games are really tough to get motivated for, that was something that I would think about. What would I do? Like, going through this makes everything more worth it, because what would I do with the Stanley Cup? And I brought it all around town. I brought it to schools I went to. I brought it to Campion Arena, my local hockey rink, my local hockey shop, State Line Sports. I brought it to the top of the Dartmouth Library. at the highest point I could get to. It was, and I had a gigantic party at my house. My wedding, we had probably 60% people RSVP yes to, and the Stanley Cup, we had 2 people say they couldn't come to the party.
Wow.
Every invite we sent, everybody was there. It was really cool.
Well, as you well know, there is no trophy in sports like the Stanley Cup. Nothing compares
It was very special.
to the Stanley Cup, and I'm sure you've had a drink or 2 out of it.
Yes, I'm very excited to see it again today.
Absolutely. Well, Ben Lovejoy, congratulations. Welcome to the New Hampshire Legends of Hockey, the class of 2021.
Thank you, sir. Very honored to be doing this.